Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're here today announcing a bill to make it much easier for Ohioans to navigate the public records request process. It will provide an expedited process to an individual who has a public records request denied by a state agency or a local public office. This is about open government and installing fairness and confidence in the process that is often out of sight and out of mind until someone really needs to put government to a test. This has been a collaborative process that began many, many months ago through conversations with representatives of the judicial branch, the auditor, the attorney general, and the Ohio Newspaper Association. We're blazing new ground. In fact, we believe that this bill may be the first of its kind anywhere in the nation. It will establish procedures to ensure transparency while also protecting public offices from expensive and excessive legal costs, drawn out court proceedings, and frivolous filing. If an individual's public records request is initially denied, the process for filing a dispute can often be lengthy and costly for an average Ohio citizen who may simply not be able to afford legal assistance to navigate the dispute. The legislation provides a dispute resolution process that will help Ohioans avoid spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on issues relating to city, county, or state government records. The process is this. If a requester has a public records request denied, they can pursue one of the following actions. They can continue to do what they've always done, file a traditional mandamus action in the court, or they can adopt what we call the new procedure, and that is file a claim at their local county court that will go to the Court of Claims. Should the requester choose this expedited route, they will file a complaint at their local clerk's office, which will then go to the Ohio Court of Claims. This legislation would require an additional mediation between the two parties in order to help the requester simply obtain the records that they're trying to acquire in an expedited fashion. Remember, the goal here for most people seeking public records is to get the records. It is not to run up expenses and legal fees. By utilizing the mediation process, both the requester and the public office would avoid a prolonged legal fight that's associated with costly legal fees. If the mediation fails, then a special master at the Court of Claims will issue an expedited recommendation on the complaint that will then be reviewed by a judge at the Court of Claims who will ultimately approve or modify the recommendation and render an enforceable judgment. This will serve as binding authority for the complainant. While either party can still appeal that judgment of the Court of Claims, this too, the appeal, will be handled in an expedited manner and possibly could lead to attorney's fees if a frivolous appeal is taken. Citizens, as I mentioned, remain the current rights to seek remedies under the current existing legal process and can still file a mandamus action. If someone decides to go that route and file a suit, the court ultimately, if they rule in favor of the requester, can still award attorney's fees under the mandamus action. However, this legislation does modify the terms for awarding attorney's fees in such circumstances and requires the court to consider whether alternative, less expensive manner of obtaining the records was available. This also fixes the Franco decision, where essentially you could hold out, delay, and then at the last minute, give the records avoiding attorney's fees. We're not going to allow that anymore. The bottom line is this. This bill is intended to facilitate faster, easier, and less expensive access to government for taxpayers. It's about keeping government open, accountable, and accessible to our citizens. I really appreciate the state auditor who's here, the Attorney General's Constitutional Office Section, Chief Damian Sikora, who is here on behalf of Mike DeWine, who supports this. I talked to Attorney General DeWine just the other day, and he wanted to be here. Unfortunately, he's dealing with the Piketon matter, so you may be aware. And the Ohio Newspaper Association. I want to thank them all for being here. I want to turn it over now to Auditor Yost.